The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
So, gentlemen, thank you so much for this opportunity. Nika, always great to see you.
Thank you.
My appreciations. Thank you so much, Goutan, for this meeting. Tell us about IMD itself. I want to brief our viewers and followers in regards to more detail, let me say so, about Switzerland's management.
Absolutely. IMD was born about 77 years ago. Through an unusual combination of two institutions, and that till today influences our DNA. The first was actually Nestle, and Nestle today is the world's largest consumer food company with over 90 billion in revenue. And Nestle at that time was growing quite rapidly, and they were sending a lot of people over to the US for business education to Harvard University. So ultimately, they requested Harvard, saying, why don't you set up a school in Switzerland? And Nestle gave the building and the land, and Harvard sent its faculty to set up the business school. So we are born through this combination of Nestle and Harvard. And later, Alcon, at that time the world's largest aluminum company, they joined the partnership as well. Today we are independent. We have nothing to do with Harvard. We have nothing to do with Nestle. We are run as an independent nonprofit. But that DNA is important, the combination of business and academia coming together.
Fantastic. So the reason and my personal challenge through this interview will be why IMD decided first to prepare, to check, then prepare, this survey and case study, and then publish about TBC. How did you find this story in general and then interesting for IMD?
Yeah, I think we hear about interesting companies in a variety of ways. In this particular case, it happened through personal, face-to-face contact when TBC decided to come to IMD. Of course, IMD gets 14,000 executives on campus every year. We're not going to write a case study on every company. We tend to write case studies based on two things. One, the company is doing some very interesting things that many others are not doing. And two, they've actually managed to pull it off. And there are therefore some good, interesting lessons for other company senior leaders to learn from. So it is this combination of doing very interesting things, being successful at it, and there are actually some good lessons for others to learn.
And that's TBC case?
That's the TBC case.
Please share with me some more benefits and values which is coming after from this story itself. So how this case study might benefit your students and your others, all of them. It's published, it's shareable, and it's very important for us to know the details.
I think there's two ways in which we can benefit. One is what we do at IMD, of course, but the goal is not to restrict it just to IMD. This case, which we hope will also maybe one day win an award, maybe, we don't know that, is to publicize it to as many business schools as possible, so that anybody in a business school who is interested in the following question: how does a legacy company that is a market leader reinvent itself in a very different way? How did they do it? Because what we do know is majority failed trying to do so. A good example is what's happening in the automobile industry today. Look at all the challenges automobile companies are facing because they're not able to adapt to the EV revolution, the self-driving revolution, the software revolution. So most legacy companies struggle with these issues, and TBC is one of those rare companies that has managed to do it well.
So personal for you, how you evaluate the fact IMD covered the story, covered the case study, which is very important, at the same time published. What does it mean in general?
I think, first of all, I mean, just to call it in the proper ways, I think it's a huge achievement for TBC and for our country, because as Goutan said, IMD hosts more than 10,000 executives every year on the campus. And the mere fact that it got attention and captured the attention of IMD team and Goutan in particular is a big achievement in my opinion. So we are doing something very right. The second thing is that it is once more confirming that we are on the right path. And the things we do and the way we do them is something of a global scale. I mean, the fact that we are from Georgia, which is not the biggest country in the world, right? We are just 3.5 million people. And the fact that we grew out of Georgia to enter another country, which is Uzbekistan, 10 times bigger than Georgia, 38 million people. And the way we did it, not with a conventional manner, but in terms of digital expansion only through a mobile banking app, basically is a massive, massive, massive story. And it's very, very cool that IMD basically took this story and is now going to publish it and to distribute it to the students and to talk about it in these classes, basically, which are the top class because IMD is one of the best schools in the world.
So at the same time, what I find is, what I found, maybe let me say so, while briefing the story and the case itself is the following. How do you find we're doing something right, as Nika has mentioned. We're going to the right way. But at the same time, how do you find this story as inspiring for not just students, but whoever will cover it or read it or share it? So why it is inspiring?
I think, we are always inspired by what I would call as David versus Goliath stories.
Okay.
Right? In a sense, Georgia, a small country, no reason to have a company that is growing so fast, delivering some amazing financial results. So that by itself gives a lot of small companies hope, right? And the small companies are generally the bedrock of society. And so when a small country does it and is able to do it in a much larger geography, just the optics of that look very great, right? It gives hope to everybody. I think the second thing is, because we know that so many legacy companies have failed at it, that makes it inspiring, that anybody who's in a legacy company says, maybe there's a roadmap here. Maybe there are some crucial lessons that I can take back into my own company. Let me just give you a very simple statistic. If you take the 500 largest companies in the US in 1995, and you look at how many of them were on the list in 2020, it is only 192. So 60% fell off the list. Now, maybe they fell off not because they grew slower and others grew faster. No, 230 of the 308 or so that fell off the list got bought over or went bankrupt and things like that. This is hard to do. It's really, really hard for legacy companies to reinvent themselves. And I think the DNA that this company has really gives somebody hope that, hey, you can be young and old at the same time.
Nika, at the same time, having Switzerland's International Institute for Management Development as a case study issuer, what does it mean for TBC itself?
I mean, we honestly, firstly, we value IMD a lot because we did several interactions with IMD. For instance, several years ago, we took top approximately 50 people of our company to IMD for a week to strategize together with Goutan and the team about our plans. And this is actually where all this started from. And for us, IMD is world's one of the best companies in its industry, honestly. I mean, they are the top class. So when this kind of company appreciates what you do and thinks that your path is something that will inspire others that also come to IMD, it's a massive confirmation and a motivation for the whole management, because these things do not happen just like this. I mean, this is 1 in every million companies get a chance to be acknowledged or to be told about to other companies, you know, and this is a massive fact. So I would say we should be humble to continue working like we did before. However, we should also understand that we have been acknowledged, and this is very cool.
Is there something? Yes, please.
What I wanted to add is, when I look at myself or my colleagues, the type of cases we teach, I did a case on Nespresso, I did a case on Unilever, I did a case on Nike, Boeing. Those are typically the type of companies we are writing. Why? Because everybody knows those brands. Everybody wants to know where those companies are going. So why did we pick TBC? Only because we felt there's something very interesting going on here. Because otherwise, how do you get the attention of an audience? If I say Nike, everybody's paying attention. If I say Unilever, they're paying attention. Nespresso, of course they're paying attention. TBC, now, who the hell is TBC, right? That's the first question. So unless the lessons are powerful, we would never pick a case like this.
But the interest might be even more. What about
Bingo.
TBC? Yeah.
That's the reason why we are picking it, because I think when you do things what I would call as against the odds, that's when something really catches people's attention from a learning perspective. And that's what our goal is, right? If I talk about IMD's purpose, right? Our purpose is very simple: challenging what is and inspiring what can be.
Great.
So when we get 14,000 executives every year to come to IMD, or we go to their companies, that's what we are trying to do. Can we challenge them on what they're doing, and can we inspire them on what is possible? And at IMD, we try to do it in a very grounded, practical way, not in a theoretical way, but let's look at a company. Let's look at what they're doing. And that's really what that our purpose is, and we try to live it every day. And stories like TBC make it possible for us, where people say, yeah, I learned something very good today, which I'll take back to my business.
You mentioned about Uzbekistan. You moved there, you're based there. Whole Georgia knows it, but at the same, they know it, and at the same time, I want to use this momentum and to brief our viewers and followers about the latest results. What you have, what do I mean, Nika, by this is 2024 actual results, what you have already published through your personal and professional channels, and how does it go?
First thing that people have to understand and recall is that we are in Uzbekistan just 4.5 years old. So in the 4.5 years, we managed to achieve a number of customers, approximately 19 million. So in Uzbekistan, we have 19 million customers. Now, somebody will say Uzbekistan is a big country. It is a big country, but it is half of the population.
Of
so
this country.
What we have in our customer base is we have 19 million customers, which is 50% of Uzbek population. This is achievement number one. Achievement number two is that in these 4 years, we managed to become very profitable with a return on equity of approximately 27%, which is world-class already. And this all, especially to underline this last fact, this all done in a very innovative, challenging, and to an extent, unknown business model manner, because we are doing this all only through the mobile experience. So there are very few digital banks globally that manage to break even in 2 years, become so profitable in 4 years, and manage to attract 19 million customers. So this is in short what we did in 4 years in Uzbekistan.
Do you estimate any kind of plans for 2025? I'm not talking about some figures at the same time, but please brief us about your plans as well.
I can tell you what we promised to our investors.
Just to grow, maybe.
Yeah, we promised our investors that we're going to have at least $75 million in net profit, which is approximately doubling what we did last year. And this is a massive thing. So if you think for a second that we achieved this scale and now we're going to double this scale again, this is a massive execution effort. So the kudos goes to the team and everybody who is supporting us, because this is not just a selection of people or myself, right? There's a massively strong team standing behind it in Georgia and in Uzbekistan that is pushing these limits, further. So this is a very, very good achievement.
And what I want to just add there is, not many companies have built what I would call as a scalable infrastructure.
What do you mean by this?
What I mean by that is, if they go from 19 million, let's say 22, 24 million customers, but also selling them many more products and services.
Nika is talking about statistics. We both know
Yes.
that 90 million is, yes, definitely half of the population.
Right.
But when we're talking about the customers,
That's right.
as 90 million,
That's right.
it's absolutely different.
It's totally
it means
different.
majority of the active population.
If you look at the adult
different.
population, exactly, right? So the struggle for most companies is, as I sell my customers more products and services, can I keep my cost structure similar? Does it go up? Does it go down? So I think the infrastructure they have built here at TBC is, you're actually, as you add more customers, the per customer cost can actually go down. And that's not very common. That's not very common. And I think that's where there are some very interesting lessons also to many companies, because I truly believe that the next gen companies that will be successful will do it where you can scale without increasing your costs very much. Meaning, whatever your costs are today, they won't go up dramatically when you double or when you do things like that. And that's really where the magic is.
Thank you so much, and I hope that we will hear a lot
Sure.
from IMD about your existing and future partnership with our good friends and partners from TBC.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck. Thank
Pleasure.
you. Thank you for the interest. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.